Alrighty, we are going to talk about John Cabot today. He sailed from England, or he sailed for England. We'll find out he lived other places, but for our purposes, we want to think of him as an English explorer. Here's a short video clip. You'll have to listen closely because it doesn't get too loud. If for some reason you can't hear it at all, feel free to skip this portion of the video, and then the rest of the video I'll talk and you'll be able to hear it. John Cabot's search for the Northwest Passage.
For a northwest passage to Asia was a man named John Cabot, and his explorations began a few years after the first voyage of Christopher Columbus. Like Columbus, Cabot was born in the Italian city of Genoa. As a youth, he learned navigation and map-making here in Venice.
Okay, so he was born in Italy. You're going to want to take a little note of that. He was born in Italy.
And from Venice, Cabot sailed in trading ships that visited Silk Road ports along the eastern shores of the Mediterranean Sea. John Cabot dreamed of finding a direct route to the riches of Asia, a route that would make the Silk Road obsolete.
Do you remember the Silk Road? The path through Asia? That was how all the Europeans got their spices and their golds and did all their trading. So remember, John Cabot is another explorer who wanted to go around the world the other direction, to the east, to the west, to get all the way around to the Indies.
And he expected to find it by crossing the chilly waters of the North Atlantic. After having his plan rejected by the rulers of Portugal and Spain,
he tried to have Portugal and Spain fund his trips, but they said no. They didn't think he would be successful. So he went to England.
And won the king's approval for his expedition. So in May of 1497, with the financial backing of a group of English merchants, Cabot sailed west across the Atlantic Ocean. At the end of June, he sighted what historians think was either Cape Breton Island or the island of Newfoundland in what is today Canada. However, John Cabot, like Columbus, believed that he was looking at the shores of Asia.
So, did you catch that? John Cabot sailed the same direction that Columbus did. He decided to sail west in order to get to the Indies. And like Columbus, when he hit land, he assumed it was Asia. He would find out later, or we will find out later, that it was Canada.
And claimed the land for the King of England. The next year, Cabot made a second voyage to this area and did not return. And although he failed to find a route to Asia, Cabot did discover that there were huge numbers of fish in the waters off of Newfoundland. These rich fishing grounds came to be called the Grand Banks.
You'll want to take a note of that. He found this area that had tons of fish, great fishing. That was very popular food. So write down the Grand Banks was one of his achievements. He found the Grand Banks.
And in the early 1500s, thanks to Cabot's discovery, fleets of fishing boats, mostly from France,
would go to this area, the Grand Banks, to try to fish. And they were very successful because of John Cabot's discovery. Let's keep going. So let's see. John Cabot's reasons for sailing. John Cabot was an English explorer who was sent to explore the New World by King Henry VII. England was anxious to explore the lands explored by Christopher Columbus. England was also interested in finding lands that the English could claim as colonies. They wanted to expand their country and get some new land. So his route taken and obstacles faced. John Cabot believed that he could find a water route to Asia by sailing northwest across the Atlantic Ocean. While on his journey, Cabot experienced bad weather, food shortages, and conflicts with his crew and was forced to return to England. So as you can see, he had a lot of obstacles, a lot of problems as he sailed. He had bad weather because it was very far north and it was very cold. Food shortages. They didn't have enough food for the crew. And finally, conflicts with his crew, where they didn't think that Cabot was leading them to a place that existed. They didn't think he was a good leader, and they were very upset with him. You can see his route here. A few routes from Europe, from England, to Newfoundland, up here into Greenland. All right, accomplishments. The next year, Cabot tried to find the Asia route again. This time he reached North America, so he sailed a little further south. He reached and explored Newfoundland, Canada in 1497. His landing allowed England to claim what is now Canada. Cabot was still determined to find a northwest route to Asia and tried again by sailing south along the Canadian coast. During this voyage, Cabot and his men were lost at sea and never seen again. So that was the end of John Cabot. Something happened on that trip, and him and his crew were never seen again. Go ahead and you can rewind the video, replay it as many times as you need to get a good grasp of this explorer, this English explorer, John Cabot.